monthly update call, and glad to be here with all of you. And we've got you've probably noticed we've got a new slide deck that shows all of our brands, all of our companies, all of our brands. Um, and of course, the Andavo travel brand has the uh, least amount of letters with the thickest font and the biggest icon, so it sort of stands out above the other three, right? as a focus brand. I'm going to do a quick.
Oh, if you guys would mute your lines, that would be great. We'll cut down on background noise. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to do a quick sales update, show you how our sales are going. Then I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to look at an 8-quarter review of the pandemic, which we're actually 5 quarters into the pandemic, 15 months. And so I'm going to do a quick review of what's happened in the last 15 months, and then just spend a minute or a few minutes looking forward at the future. And with that, I will start out. This is company wide. I've got some good charts on the Andavo portion of the sales. I'll get into those a little bit later, towards into the presentation a little ways. But just to show you how we're doing as a company, this is our ticketing transactions since the beginning of the year, 2021. Nice steady climb every month, and there's actually been a little bit of an improvement, which we'll talk about here in a minute. This next slide is the same information, but it's based on the entire company, all 4 brands, and it's also the sales rather than just the airline ticketing. So this is the dollars, which includes tours, cruises, cars, hotels, airfare, the whole thing. And as you can see, so far this year, we've booked 103 million. I think it's actually, I don't think we have last week closed out yet, but I think we actually are up to 110 million with last week for the first, 5.5 months of the year. This next chart is one that I'm going to show every month. At the beginning of the year, we did a sales model, sort of a forecast based on some assumptions that we made on a certain compound growth rate every month. And what I'm going to do, and that's, by the way, that's the blue line, and the yellow line is the actual. This only goes through May because June isn't complete. We've actually seen quite a bit of sales in June, so I think that we'll see that. I have a pretty good feeling that it's been in lockstep. It's been pretty amazing that our forecast on January 1st, we did this forecast on January 1st. It's pretty amazing that we're right in sync with the forecast this close. We're within a couple of $2 million of the model, but I think we'll actually pass up the model in June because things are looking really good, and a lot of that is thanks to the Andavo brand. So that's the quick overview of the company level. I'll get into some Andavo things later, some specific Andavo. This is the 8-quarter review that I talked about, and the two in red are sort of the first 6 months, Q2, April, May, and June, and then July, August, and September. The next 3 are the 3 that just completed, the last quarter of last year and the first 2 quarters of this year, and then the yellow is the future. And those numbers at the bottom, the 12%, 14%, 20%, 22, 35, etc., those are the actual percentage of airline tickets that we issued in that quarter as in relationship to the same quarter in 2019. So Q2, and honestly, most of those 12% of tickets that we issued were probably exchanges that were where clients weren't actually traveling, but they were exchanging tickets for future travel to try to protect their credits. And then we got into the summer, and it barely inched up to 14% for that quarter. It did increase to 20% at the end of the year, and then it's kind of stayed there for between 20 and 22%. And then we see this inflection point. We actually went from 22%, and I'm forecasting that we're going to be at 35% for this quarter because it's not over yet. But I think that's a conservative forecast, and if the next 9 days are as good as the previous 20 or I guess 12 days or so far this month, 12 or 13 days this month, business days, I think we may even do a little bit better than 35%, but that's an inflection point. We actually went from a 60% increase in tickets issued in one quarter. And then I'll talk a little bit about the future. And I'm going to go into each one of these quarters. So the first quarter was the Protect Our Future quarter. That's the one where we just really buckled down and tried to cut all the costs out of the overhead and honestly just focus on protecting the long-term viability of the company. The next quarter, I'm going to call that the long dark tunnel grit quarter. And what I did was I went through all my monthly newsletters and my monthly updates and tried to just get a sense for what was on my mind and what was the kind of the key things happening in that quarter. And honestly, what happened in July, August, and September was that we all realized that this thing was not going to be over soon. It became really clear to everyone in the industry and all of us that we were in for a long, dark, struggle through the pandemic. And I think that's honestly the focus was that we were just buckling down and saying we've got to get the capital in place and get the resources in place to just slug this thing out with passion and perseverance. And then we decided, if this thing's going to just keep going on, we should probably be reinvesting in the future. So in the fourth quarter of 2020, and we really started this process before then, but we got into sort of high gear in Q4 with sort of a whole human and digital transformation. And of course, the key factor for the Andavo brand was the RevelX booking platform. We purchased that sometime in that time frame and have been in an implementation process since then. But we decided if we're gonna have a long, slow recovery, then we better put our resources into something making it good. And then this is that inflection point that I talked about. I'm calling it the vaccination inflection point. This is Q1 of 2021, and it's really where we all started seeing light at the end of the tunnel. And honestly, all of you guys saw it more than even any of our other brands, any of our corporate brands. It was the most noticeable return to travel came from leisure first. And I want to share some information from this. This is an article that was published in Travel Weekly. You may have seen this. It was an article that was written by Jamie Becerra. And I really like Jamie. I've met her a number of times. I've actually interviewed with her she lives in New Jersey, and I've met her in New York City a number of times and had when I do an annual media tour, and I've had, sat down with her. She comes into New York and meets us, me and our PR guy, and gives us an update on, or we give her an update on what's going on with her company. And she often even writes something about it. But she wrote this article that came from a research study that came from the TripAdvisor. And the key points, there was 4 key points that were drawn out in their research that I thought were really insightful. And she wrote about it. It's worth going back and finding this article. Write down the keywords here, and you can just Google it and it'll come up. But the first thing that they found out was that of all the people traveling so far during the pandemic, 80% or since the vaccinations came out, rather, 80% of those traveling are vaccinated, 20% are not. So that was a direct correlation between the vaccinations and the return to travel. The other thing they found out in their research, which I thought was really insightful, was that of those that are traveling, the vaccinated travelers were staying longer and spending more than the unvaccinated travelers. So that was a positive sign that the vaccinations are having some positive impact for us. The third piece of data that they found that created a good correlation is that in countries where the vaccine rollout is more advanced, travel is more in demand. So they found a direct correlation between the vaccinated countries and the travel that's being done in those countries. And then the fourth data point that they uncovered in their research was that nearly half of the respondents who had not been vaccinated said they were waiting for at least 1 dose before they booked any travel. So lots of good correlations there. And so with that, I want to just jump into actually showing you Well, this is the vaccination trend chart in the United States. And somewhere there in February through, April, there was about 100 million people vaccinated. I think that there were around 50 million right in here. And then within just a really short period of time, we got from 50 million to 150 million. So we've vaccinated about 100 million people in a pretty short time. And that's what created the vaccination inflection point, in my opinion. But the question, of course, is let's see what that did. So this here is on Davo only. And this is a chart that shows the rolling 30 days, the amount of travel booked in the rolling 30 days. So this one here on the left would be middle of March to the middle of April, around 3 million. The next 30 days would be the middle of April to the middle of May, another, almost the same, 3 million, a little bit more. And then here's the inflection point. In the last 30 days, so the middle of May to the middle of June, we've literally seen a more than 50% increase in travel with just the Andavo brand. So hats off to all of you. Kudos to all of you. And it's pretty impressive. You guys are leading the way for our return to travel as a company. So we're grateful for that. This next chart is another one that's on Davo only, and it shows the breakdown of the travel that you all are booking. So that 15.8 million there that you see right there, that's how much you've booked just since the beginning of this year in travel with just the Andavo brand only. And the biggest category is hotels. And the hotel category is this green category. And I don't have those numbers here in front of me, I guess. You know what? I know where they are. They're on another piece of paper here. Okay, the hotels were 6.6 million booked during that period of time. The tours is the next biggest category, and that was 4.6 million. The airfare is the third biggest category. That's the blue one, and that was 3.2 million. And then the smallest is the cruise category, and that was 1.4 million. So those four categories. So it's a lot of FIT is what it looks like you're doing right now. A lot of air, hotel, some car, and kind of all put together separately is where the biggest bulk of that is. But 4.6 million in tours, so that's good as well. The next chart this is a really insightful chart. This is on Davo only. And it is the amount of travel that the Andavo advisors booked in January of 2020, February of 2020, and then the last 3 months. So it really puts it into perspective. You guys were doing, if you average those 2 months out, you were booking around 6 million a month in travel, and you booked 4.6 million in the past rolling 30 days. That's like a 75% recovery from Q1 or the first 2 months of Q1 of 2020. So well done, very impressive. Our company as a whole, we're averaging around 35% of 2019 as a whole, bumping up against 40%. And your division is bumping up against 75%. So literally double what the other three divisions are doing. Oh, and by the way, your numbers are included. When I say how we're doing as a company, in the 35 to 45%, 35 to 40% range, your numbers are included in that. So you're lifting that up even higher than what we're seeing the other divisions do. So well done there. The next slide. So let me just pause here for a minute. So this is sort of that vaccination. This is sort of the actual numbers from the vaccination inflection point that I'm calling that. That's so thank you all for all the travel that you're booking on behalf of your clients. What this chart doesn't say is how far this travels out. And it's a little bit. This is book travel, and not travel. The amount that's traveled. But I will tell you, the amount of payout that was paid out to the independent contractors last month was off the charts higher than the previous month. So it's not only bookings, the travel is happening as well. Then I want to just quickly talk about the next 3 quarters. So, what I think if I could, really talk about what we're going to see in Q3, which is the July, August, September quarter and going forward, is we're going to really, and this is a company-wide thing, but we're really investing even more money in our product team. We've hired a new VP of product and design that's going to take over all of the software-related projects that we're working on, and he comes from a global digital marketing company, and he is somebody that we recruited. He was not looking for a job. He came highly recommended. He's been with this global digital marketing and design company for quite some time. He's a senior executive there. And well, I can't take any credit for it. My son Josh was able to talk him into coming to work for us. He hasn't started yet, so you never know what can happen between now and then, but he's supposed to start on July 6th, and we're going to build up a product team around him that's going to take us even to higher heights. Q4 is when we should, as a company, finally come to a break-even point. So that will be really 7 quarters into the pandemic, and it's a little bit misleading because we'll technically be at a break-even point in that the percentage of travel that has returned will say that we're at a break-even point, but Q4 is always our slowest quarter, so we won't actually break even in Q4, even though the amount of travel on an annualized basis will say we're tracking at a break-even level. So we're excited about that. And by the way, this 45%, 55, and 65, that's our forecast for ticketing. Keeping in mind that we were at 35% in Q2. We're forecasting that it'll go up to 45% next quarter and then continue from there. And then, of course, well, I guess I need to talk about this quarter. That's an important one. We will finally be profitable again and be talking about growth and profitability, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun again. We'll get into Q1 of 2022, and it will be fun again. And it'll be worth the sacrifices that we've made to get through this as a company and as an Andavo brand. And by the way, I should say, so this will just another quick summary of what I already showed you, which is sort of those first 2 quarters, which were just ugly. The next 3, which we started to see positive things happening, and then I think we've got a positive future ahead for us, and I'm excited about it, and happy that we stuck it out. We really survival's off the table now. We are in good financial condition. We have made it through this pandemic effectively. We've got enough capital to get through the rest of the year easily, and we're on our way to talking about being better and being profitable here in the near future. So thank you all for your part in that. Thank you all for being part of the Andavo brand, which is, the leisure travel is coming back the fastest. And with that, I'll open it up for Q&A. Let's open up the chat session and tell me what's on your mind.
Yeah, so feel free to unmute your lines and jump in.
Yeah. You can send me a message, ask me a question. What's on your mind? And while you're thinking about that, I'm going to turn my email off so my phone quits dinging with all these emails that are coming through. What are you? I mean, what are you guys seeing? One of the things that I've heard is that you're having a struggle with the vendors. That the vendors aren't staffed well enough to handle the amount of business that you're and that you're having a hard time getting through to help desks and to talk to people. I will tell you that's a company, an industry-wide problem. I have a close personal friend that is the general manager of a Marriott Courtyard just south of Salt Lake City in a community called Lehigh, and it happens to be in a community where we have a lot of corporate clients. And he said that he cannot find housekeepers. He just flat can't find them. that they're the ones that he had aren't willing to come back to work for him. He's even increased their pay significantly, and still can't get them to come back, and he's having a hard time. But what are you guys hearing and seeing? Laura Burton, very long wait times for vendors on the phone or emails. Who would have thought we'd have this problem 60 days ago, right? Or 90 days ago? Who would have thought we'd have this inflection point and things would be this crazy busy overnight, literally overnight? Specifically classic and journals.
I have a question for you, Mike. With the people you talk to, it seems to me that it's just like a free for all out there and monopoly money. You just throw a price on the board, and if it sticks, they charge it. I've never seen prices as high, as they've been for any of these places. And I mean, is the feeling out there that people are used to this unbelievably high cost and that they're going to stay for hotels? I know airline tickets are going to start going up and up and up, but it just seems to me that the starting point at any hotel that I'm booking is between 900 and 1,200 bucks a night.
Well, so this is just my own, personal feeling about this, but I think, it's obviously market forces that are creating all of this. And we went and I'm sure that the question is, what is it sustainable for these vendors, particularly the hoteliers? And
Right.
we're trying to book some travel for our own family right now, and the prices have gone up so much that I don't even know what to do.
Right.
Sheila Farley was telling me, who books our family's travel, that she has a client that books a suite in Hawaii before Christmas every year, same suite, same property. I believe it's Kealani, and that it's been 20 grand for the suite for the week for as long as she can remember.
Right.
And they're asking $56,000 this year for the same room, for the
Right.
same villa, for the same villa. I mean, not just a 5% increase or a 10% increase or 15% increase, but literally a 250% increase for one villa for 1 week.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm finding. And I understand now, early that certain places, it's just, as I say, it's like monopoly money. But even down the line, uh, I mean, when you're booking so far out, the prices are just so crazy. So I guess it's just going to be this bait and switch thing, which makes it harder for us because they're constantly going to be juggling based on inventory. Yeah.
I mean, the question, for example, we as a family stay at the same properties, generally when we travel at certain times of the year. And we're looking at alternatives for the first time in a long time, where we're saying, is there something else where we could stay that's more reasonably priced, that we're not, that we don't usually stay at? And, might, that could happen. Some of these properties that have had these good loyal clients could lose them to other properties that they're willing to test for a change, and if they may like them better and not come back, when things stabilize. But they're taking a risk, in my opinion. But what do I know? Um, I have a small ownership in our family has some small ownerships in some hotels, a number of them, and one of them is a Embassy Suites on the west side of Oahu. And I was talking to the managing partner about it over the weekend, and he told me that they're running 90%, 96% occupancy, and that they have paid off all of their back interest. They were able to get the interest deferred with their bank during the pandemic, and that just in the last 60 days they've been able to pay off 100% of the back interest, and it should have cash flow in the very near future. Crazy times. Who would have thought? Let's see what other questions we have here. Travel Impressions has a 1 hour wait time. Very confusing. Cindy's telling us the very confusing rules with different countries and COVID rules. Yep. And they don't seem to be getting a lot better. I mean, you keep hearing that they're opening up Europe or opening up, they're talking about opening up Hawaii a little bit better when they get to the 60% ratio on vaccinations. Talked to a classic agent regarding group space. Still haven't heard back. Over a week with a promise of return call last Friday. Nothing yet. Yep, move on to another supplier. That's what they'll unfortunately they'll lose. They'll lose you. Wow, 3 days to call me back. Car rental shortage. Yes, Danielle, I agree. We're having that problem as well, on both the corporate and the leisure side. Trying to get cars. It's a problem. I've the old thing was get your air booked, so you got that locked in, and then start working on the hotels. Now it's get your car booked, then work on your air, then work on the hotels. Sheila told me that for a trip she's working on for our family. She said, let's get the cars booked first, so when you get there, you'll have cars. David is saying, try using Speed RFP and bidding directly with the hotel. Use it all the time with great success. Thank you, David. That's a good idea. You know what? So let's go back to the question. Why are they able to get away with this? One of the things I think that's happening is there's so many people that have their budget from what they didn't do last year and what they're going to do this year or even into next year. And so they're saying, well, I can afford to pay more because I have this budget that I didn't spend on. I normally take this annual trip and I spend this much, and now it's going to be a lot higher. Jan, when you were talking about hotels selling between 900 and 1,200 a night, what would those comparable rates have been a year and a half ago?
Probably prior to this, maybe 600-700.
Wow. 50, 60, 70% increases.
Yeah, I mean, I think for instance, right here, I'm trying to book a group of ladies at a Cavallo Point. And I mean, it's like every other room. It's $1,200 one night and $1,195 one night and $1,400 another night. And those rooms were like $799, $899. So it's in October. So, I don't know, but even stuff I'm booking, I mean, I can't even find space already next spring for, Easter week. So
Wow.
it's crazy. Anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But on another subject, to talk about fun stuff, I mean, are you kind of going out and swooping in and buying up any agencies or getting agents that are looking for a home?
It would be really, so I'll answer those separately. On the buy side, it would be really tempting to do that right now. We have elected not to, just because we want to stay more conservative right now. We entered this thing with good liquidity and no debt, and it just turned out to be a great blessing that we were in that good of condition to get through this thing. No one would have guessed that it would have been a two-year thing. And I would just as soon be in even better shape, when the next one happens. So for that reason, I think we'll probably stay conservative. Now, we believe that we can, if we reinvent ourselves, we can grow organically faster than we could by buying people. So I think my preference, I would never say never. The right deal could fall in our lap and we just say we need to look at this one. But I think we'll stay conservative and try to grow more organically, which would be bringing in more, new independent contractors and new corporate clients and new humanitarian clients and new meetings with clients.
Yeah. Do you know what prompted Valerie Wilson to sell the Frosh? Do you know what brought that about?
Well, I don't personally,
Oh.
but the indication that we're hearing through the grapevine, there were several big ones that sold. Valerie Wilson is the most notable in the space that we're in, but there's Travel and Transport sold, and they were in the top 7 or 8 in the country, and they sold to a CTM. They sold to CTM out of Australia, and there's a number of big ones that sold. And I think that the indication from what you're reading is that they just got tired of funding it, because it's a long, hard, road to cover the losses for month after month, quarter after quarter, and now we're into year after year. And I think some of them just decide to throw in the towel and let somebody else take over those losses. That's my opinion. Where we really believe in the future, so we want to stay, we don't want to do that. We want to hang in there and come out stronger on the other end.
Okay, and one last question, and then I'll shut up. It always gets back to commissions and, bigger agencies and merging. I mean, do you see any forecasts in the future that the airlines are going to decide they're going to whack us even farther? I mean, what do you think the forecast for that is?
I hope not. I will tell you that there is one good thing that in that regards of that tension that's between the distribution system and the airlines, where they're always trying to get people to go direct and have pay us less. One good thing happened, and that is that Sabre put together a deal with Delta Airlines that they call a value pricing agreement, where they pay Delta Airlines pays Sabre lower amounts on basic economy. Actually, what I've heard is nothing on basic economy. The same that they were paying before on main cabin. They're paying Sabre the same on main cabin, and then they're going to pay them even more on Comfort Plus and First Class. That should bode well for us, because we're in the two businesses that we're in, corporate travel and luxury travel, or the two main businesses rather. Those folks don't sit in basic economy. The business travelers don't, and neither do the luxury travelers. They're, at worst case, they're in main cabin, and then they're either in Comfort Plus or one of the premium categories, or business and first. And so I think that that bodes well for that the airlines and the GDSs are, and GDSs represent us, right? They're our distribution between us and the airlines. And I think it bodes well that they're making peace and saying, we don't mind paying you. I've heard that they're paying them the same. In other words, it's not a cost reduction. It's just a matter of they're paying them more in one bucket and less in the other bucket. So the people that will lose are Priceline and Expedia, because they book more of that basic economy than the rest of us do. And then the premium corporate TMCs and the premium luxury travel agencies should come out, equal or maybe even slightly ahead. So I think it bodes well for that. They've said, okay, we realize you guys can add value. We just want to pay you for the value that you add. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully they don't get full of themselves. Hopefully they don't get, fill all their planes up and decide that they don't need us. But I'm not too worried about that right now. You never know, though. It goes through
Mike,
that
I have
cycle.
a question on the airlines too. You've been very right on target with our model as far as break-even point, that kind of thing. Have any of the legacy airlines reached that point yet, a break-even point, or what is their model?
What I'm hearing is that particularly the big domestic carriers in the United States, are all at positive operating cash flow right now. So cash flow is different than profitability. The difference between cash flow and profitability is that cash flow is just that, money in, money out, and that they're operating in a positive cash flow now. Whereas it doesn't reflect the depreciation on the airplanes and the non-cash outlays that have to be included in a P&L. But they claim that they've all, as part of this vaccination inflection point, that they claim that they've all reached positive cash flow in the recent couple of few months. So that's positive for us. And they're also saying they want to pay people for adding value, and international is, of course, where we get most of our revenue, right? So when those borders open up, I would think they would want to continue to pay us, but who knows? You never know. Well, I've taken more time than I probably had allocated by Kirsten, but thank you all, and really sincerely thank you. Camille and I are greatly appreciative of all that you all do, and we're going to be. I hear rumor that we're going to be inviting you into our home this fall sometime. So to see us. So I hope you're able to come and visit us, and we'll have a reception at our home, and be glad to have face-to-face contact with all of you for again finally. So
Yeah.
thank you all, and
Thank you.
have a great day.
And thanks, Mike. And everybody, we've got Josiane who is on the line. She wants to give us an update of her trip to Croatia. So Josiane, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to you. You might need to unmute your line.
There, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Great. Okay. Yeah, so I was in Croatia last month. This was a trip that was planned for 2 years, and we kept having to postpone it. So that was difficult, buying tickets, refunding them, and so on. So we finally went. I went with Calvados Club, who I had not worked with before, but I thought that they were absolutely phenomenal. They are extremely well connected in Croatia and also in Montenegro. They have been in business for I don't know how many years, but the people that they work with are all small hotels or small places or people that they've known for years. So all the people that we met people from their office. We met the owner of the company. We met some of their agents. And everybody seems like a big, happy family. And so that was also very reassuring. Um, they did a great trip. We went from Zagreb. We went north to the Istria Peninsula, and then back down to Var and along some of the islands, and we ended up in Montenegro. So it was. Oh, those are my pictures. Yeah. Oh, yeah, those are the pictures. Actually, this right here is Marco Polo's house. That no, that one. That's Marco Polo's house. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of great places to see. Croatia is clean. It's friendly. They have excellent food, excellent wines. Um, it's really quite. I was very impressed. I don't know how many of you have been to Croatia. Oh, and this, I have to tell you, this right here is the Aman Sveti Stefan, and they closed permanently while we were there. And the reason that they closed, this was a huge scandal, the reason that they closed is because the corrupt Montenegro government um, decided to make this beach a public beach instead of their private beach. And from one day to the next, they closed. Yes, so quite a scandal because they were full, and but a lot of people from there went to the one and only Porto Novi, which is like 30 minutes away from there. So that was fine, and that's a beautiful property. Um, what else can I tell you? I don't know. I visited a ton of hotels, did some truffle hunting, as you could see my truffles over there. And this is far. I mean, there's just it, Croatia is just such a, and this is the Plivici Lakes, which is in the south of Zagreb. Great place for hiking. It's beautiful. And what I found impressive was that it's so clean. Everything is clean. This is a national park. The national park was clean. The garbage cans were emptied. The bathrooms were clean. In fact, we did a lot of driving on this trip, and one of the things that we did is we stopped in a rest stop for cars. It was so clean, literally, you could eat off the floor. I'm not kidding. It was impeccable. The bathrooms were impeccable. The food, you could get food. We didn't eat there, but the food was excellent in these rest stops. So very easy to drive, good roads, better than what we have here in California. What else? Hotels were one better than the other. And really, it's a great destination, and I would highly recommend it. Yeah. So I don't know if anybody has questions. Anybody
We
have
did have
questions?
somebody that put in a comment that they had used
Oh.
the Calvados Club, and they did great job on their trip as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're very detailed, or I mean, I have absolutely nothing bad to say other than the trip was extremely busy, and I did not spend $1 on anything else but some aspirin that I bought. That's it. We had no time for shopping. Maybe that's a good thing, but it was very busy. Yeah, it was a busy trip, lots of hotels, but fantastic destination.
Great. And I did post your pictures that you had sent, the slideshow, over onto our Teams channel. So if
Okay.
anybody wants to go through and look at those, they are on our Teams channel under General, and then go up to the top and you'll see reviews. And as any of you are traveling, if you've got photos or write-ups, anything that you want to post and share, we can do that through our Teams channel as well. So it's great. Thanks, Josiane. It's great to hear as people are getting out and traveling and experiencing different wholesalers and companies. Meredith, you just got back from a trip. Are you prepared to give an update on yours, or do you want to? You just got back.
I just got back, and I'd love to share some photos next week. So I just got back from Guatemala, and it was amazing. So I will give a little bit of an update on that next week.
Great. And Josiane, you did have one question from Jackie. She asked where you fly through to get to Croatia.
I had to fly through Germany, through Frankfurt. And funny enough, Croatia, if you're vaccinated, does not require a COVID test, but Germany does. Well, Germany did. And the day before I was scheduled to leave, I had a 7 p.m. appointment for my COVID test. And at 4 p.m., they changed it so I didn't need the test. So usually so I flew into Zagreb and out of Dubrovnik, and both times through Frankfurt.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Josiane. That was great.
Great. Okay.
Cindy asked how was getting home with doing the COVID test.
Wait, what did you say something?
Josiane, yeah, Cindy asked how the COVID test was for coming home.
So the COVID test was done at the hotel in Montenegro. They just came to us, and a couple of us did it. It's very efficient. Yeah.
And the hotel arranged it, or?
Yes,
okay.
The hotel arranged it.
Great.
Different people were doing different things. So I had mine like at 10 a.m. and somebody else had theirs at 4 p.m. depending on their departure time. Yeah.
Okay. Great. We do have a slight change in our Andavo Connection dates. I want to make sure to announce that to all of you guys, and then I will send out an update to everybody. Still the same week. It'll be Monday through Wednesday instead. So we're going September 27th through the 29th in Salt Lake City. We were able to get into a hotel downtown at the Little America if we shifted our dates just a little bit. And so for a better experience for all of you, we decided to go ahead and make that slight modification. So we'll fly in on Monday, the 27th of September. We will have our opening session that evening, and then dinner at the hotel. Tuesday will be our all-day vendor sessions. Not exactly sure how that's going to look, but we'll get more information out to you. It'll be a smaller group. We're anticipating we'll probably have about 20 to 25 suppliers there, mainly because people's budgets are just so reduced. There's a lot that just don't have the budgets to be doing conferences just yet. And then on Wednesday morning, we will do breakout sessions, best practices, that kind of thing. And then we'll probably end with lunch and be done about 1 p.m. on Wednesday. But I will get all those particulars emailed out to everybody. Just wanted to get you that update. On Tuesday evening is when we will have a reception at Mike and Camille's house that evening. So it will be quite nice to see everybody in person. We do have quite a few people that are going to Virtuoso Travel Week in person. So we will also have a reception there Sunday afternoon. The opening session at Virtuoso Travel Week, I believe, starts at 4 o'clock. So we're looking at like 1:30 to 3:30 or 2 to 3:30. That we will have a reception for all of our people attending in person. And then you'll have the regular table schedules Monday through Thursday mornings, and the afternoons are the professional development. So if you've not taken a look at the agenda, take a look at it, because this year is different. Everything is either morning for appointments and afternoon professional development. And the Virtuoso meeting site has that updated information. They had closed down the request to attend, but if you are still interested in going, if you've not done that before, let me know and I will see if we can get you on a wait list. They're still working through clearing how many people that they're able to have there. So let me know if that is something that you're still wanting to do. Nancy, what about American canceling up to 50 flights a day because of labor shortages? Any insight on this? I had not heard about that. So that's the first thing that you're the first time hearing of it. I know that there are a lot of labor shortages, and that's part of the issue that we're having with ALG, with Classic, with Travel Impressions, Delta Vacations. So I don't know if it's the same thing with American. They're just having a hard time getting people coming back to work, or if they have different requirements for people coming back to work, that people are making some different decisions. I did have a meeting, Meredith and I had a meeting with Alicia and Kristen Malloy at Delta Vacations, and they gave us an update on where they are staffing wise, because they know that they have fallen down with their response time. Many people are experiencing 4, 6, even up to 8 hours of hold time, and they know that that is unacceptable. They have apologized for that. They did want to let us know that they are in their second round of hiring and training. So they're getting more people in their call center. So you should start to see that call time or hold time reducing. They're still hiring more people, but they're anticipating that it will take through mid-September to beginning of October before you really see their customer service level back to what it was before any COVID restrictions. So we still have a few more months, but they want to make sure that they're training people appropriately before they're throwing them on the call center lines. So, and same thing with ALG with Travel Impressions. They are in the process of hiring and training and getting people into those call centers, but it is taking a little bit of time. That was Delta Vacations that we had met with. I'd also had a meeting with ALG that covered travel impressions and United Vacations and all of the product that you can sell through VAX. But they're both about in the same place in getting people back into their call centers. Oh, one person on hold for Delta Airlines for over 20 hours. Yeah, that is just insane. I think that there's, it's all speculation, but I think there's a couple of different things in play. Cruise lines are having the same kind of issue. They're ramping up for July, but they're still looking at getting their staff back in place, getting their staff all vaccinated so they can be back in place. And then there'll be more information coming on how they'll be doing all their shore excursions as well, and making sure that they keep those bubbles all in place. Did anybody else have anything or questions, comments? And then next week we'll get the update from Meredith on her recent travels. And oh, you wanted me to tell you about my conference? It's always an honor to be included in this. It's the Female Leaders in Travel Conference. This year there were 50 women leaders. We go over things with challenges that we have in leading, to negotiation tactics, to leading by your values. There's a lot of different things that we cover, and it's great to be surrounded with other women leaders. A lot of these women have had challenges in their rise in their careers. I can't necessarily relate to that, but get a lot of great information from this group. They're incredibly dynamic women. A lot of them are leading agencies a little bit bigger than ours. Some of them are leading agencies much smaller than ours. And we all have very similar experiences. So it's a great networking opportunity for me, and a bit of fun mixed in with it. Some of you follow me on Facebook, so you saw that we had a costume night, and I chose to dress as Princess Diana. So it was very fun to see. Our challenge was to select a costume that was from a woman that made an impact on people in their lives. And Princess Diana is one that I feel lived her life making an impact on people's lives. So I got the opportunity to dress up as her, and it was very fun. I went to Cancun. We were supposed to have been at the LeBlanc in Cancun, and 3 weeks before the conference, and many of you may have experienced this with some groups, they bumped our group. Mexico had changed their occupancy restrictions, and we had to move because our group was putting the hotel over their occupancy rate. Why they selected us, I don't know. We were easy target, I guess. So we ended up going to Secrets the Vine, right there in Hotel Zone. It's not my favorite location in Cancun, but the hotel did a phenomenal job, especially with putting together a group within the last couple of weeks. The service was fantastic. The food was fantastic. Ease of getting around. Everybody, is masked up on the airplanes. Getting to the hotel was very easy. We used Amstar for transfers. And then the hotel did arrange for our COVID tests, and we had our results back within 24 hours. Actually, I had my result back in an hour. So that was very well. And I went through United and was able to upload my test results into the United app, which cut down on check-in time at the airport because that was already done. So anybody that is traveling with United and can upload that, it was really very easy. There were some other people there were flying on Delta. They had a little bit more challenge in getting theirs uploaded. The United app was super easy. So if you have any clients traveling on United, make sure they do the upload that. You can upload your vaccine card, plus you can upload your negative test results. So that's about it. We've got just a few minutes left. If anybody else had any other questions or anything else you wanted to talk about.
I just wanted to remind everyone of 2 webinars this week. One on Wednesday, which is with Wendy Clayton and Beyond, and that is at 12 p.m. Central Time, so 11 a.m., sorry, Mountain Time, and et cetera, et cetera. So,
11 p.m. We might not make that one.
sorry about that. I'm sorry, I'm giving you the wrong time. 2 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday, and then on Thursday, the 24th, with Hyatt Privé with Armel Reyes. So please join for both of those. The one on Wednesday is at 2 p.m. Central Time. The one on Thursday is at 11:30 Central Time. And
Right.
I just sent out the reminder for the one on Wednesday, and I will be sending out the one for the Hyatt one as well.
And Allie, you had sent out requests for the Wanderlist training.
Yes, and we have that scheduled actually 10 a.m. on Friday, the 25th, and that's 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And that's going to be with Laura Fixon. She did our first Wanderlist. So if you didn't get that link, because we scheduled it, canceled it because of the Belmont Road show, and then rescheduled it. So might have been kind of confusing. So if you're interested and you didn't get the link, please let me know, and I'll resend that link out.
Great, thank you. All right, thank you everybody for joining. This was a full hour, lots of information. Anything that you want to have posted, let me know. We'll go over Meredith's trip next week. If any of you have had any other travels and want to join in that, let me know. We'll add you to the agenda as well. Have a great week.
Thank you.